Hello, welcome to Claret and Blue. My name is Dan Rowland. I'm joined this afternoon by John Townley. John, how's things?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. Are you okay?
Yeah, all good. I've just a little bit of behind the scenes here. You sent me a picture just of the setup of what you see from your angle there. And the shot you've got there, there's nothing in the background. It looks quite clean, looks quite tidy.
Yeah.
You've got like a mic balance on books and just everything thrown together.
Yeah.
It's this is what happens when we record from home, basically. So today's video is that we've made two lists of transfer targets. Now this is all just a bit of hypothetical fun, basically. This isn't us saying this is going to happen or this is who Unai Emery wants. This is just you and me saying we've got some money to spend. This is what we would do. So as we know, Villa are shrouded in secrecy when it comes to transfer dealings. They keep things pretty close to their chest. As a supporter who's fed up of RTK accounts and cryptic tweets and the endless rumour mill, I quite like that. From a podcast point of view, that means we have to get creative sometimes and talk about other things. And today's show is one of those times. So we're going to be looking at hypothetical scenarios. And I suspect if people enjoy this, we'll do a couple of these. So this episode is titled something like, we've got 150 million to spend, and this is who we would sign for Aston Villa. We're going to talk through players that we'd sign. There's no limitations. If you want to spend 100 million on Jack Grealish, go for it. Want to spend 150 million on Harry Kane? Go for it. You do what you like. So we're here just to have a bit of fun, open up different pathways of discussion and have a chat. My list of players, I'll limit myself by picking Premier League only players. Having seen your list, when I only recognise about two names, I thought I've got to pull out some names here that people are going to know. Your list is players that we've not been linked with in the real life transfer market, bar one, I think. And that's kind of the rough format. So 150 million to spend, you can do what you like with it. I think I've got 6 players and you've got 7. And we're going to go through one by one and kind of pitch why we would sign this player. And like I said, this is hypothetical. Take it with a big pinch of salt, because some of my suggestions are wild, let's say. I'll go over to you first, though. Give me the first player on your list that you would like to sign with your fantasy cash.
Okay. So, yeah, again, in our list, this isn't who Villa could or might sign. It's literally not that at all. It's just players who we are putting forward.
If they do sign, we look ahead of the curve.
My first position is goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Backup goalkeeper, by the way. I'm not going to sell Emi Martinez to bump up my transfer kitty. I've gone for Martin Dubravka of Newcastle.
Okay.
I can't lie. I was going down like a rabbit hole of Spanish goalkeepers who could potentially play backup, who have had so many, I don't know, different statistics. But I just settled in the end and thought, you know what, could we do much better than Martin Dubravka as a backup goalkeeper? Probably not. He was obviously United for the back end of the start of last season, actually. And then I think he actually requested to come back to Newcastle. So I've no idea if he's actually available for transfer this summer, because obviously Newcastle have Champions League football and he may potentially play a fair share of games.
Just laughing because I know what's on my list later as my backup goalkeeper, which I don't want to do first because it's just silly, but we'll come to it later.
Yeah. 2 Premier League appearances last season, and he recorded a positive post-shot expected goals minus goals allowed value, which is basically how many times does a goalkeeper or how many goals he prevented, basically. To get a positive record out of games against Chelsea and Liverpool, who he played against for Newcastle last season, shows that he can still do it. Even though he's 34, good experience, and yeah, as I said, I don't think we could do too much better than that. Actually, I'm sure Emery's probably got, as I say, some sort of Spanish backup keeper or a list of those that are gonna sort of wow us all. I don't know, but yeah, I went with someone who we all probably know. And if we're pricing them, I have no idea how much it cost either, but can't be any more than 5 million, can it?
Yeah, I've put price tags on my players, but some of them are much lower than they realistically would go for. But I've tried to round it to near 150 million.
I think both our budgets are 150 million budget, but we both spent less than that. So
yeah, I'm already looking at my list now, going, he'd be worth 40 million in real life. So yeah, not quite right. I basically fudged the numbers to make it work into 150. I won't do my goalkeeper, so I want to save that till a bit later. Okay, first up on my list then. Like I said, my list is Premier League only players, so no kind of wild cards like yours. I've gone Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back, and I've put 20 million. Probably not enough, but like I said, I've had to work the numbers out to fit the format. I like him, and I think he would suit Emery's style of play. As I was doing the research for this video, I've actually got who scored stats here, by the way, which is massively unlike me, but as part of my research was also I watched a highlight reel of Wan-Bissaka for Man United, and it's like one of those fancy edits, and he looked amazing on that. Good pace, good tackling, one-on-one defending in that video specifically looked very good. I wrote down 25 years old, thinking that was like a plus over Matty Cash, and then realised that Matty Cash is also 25 years old. For some reason, I felt like he was older. Wan-Bissaka shares a birthday with me. 26th of November, so that's a plus point for him. That's why he's on this list. Matty Cash had 300 more minutes played than Wan-Bissaka last season. Neither scored a goal. Cash had 1 assist, which it's not great, is it, for your fullback to only register 1 assist? None for Wan-Bissaka, though. Whoever it is, I would like them to get more than 1 assist over the course of the season. 6 yellows for Cash, 3 for Wan-Bissaka, so maybe he's slightly more disciplined as another plus point. A slightly better pass percentage and aerial duels won for Wan-Bissaka, a rating of 6.85 versus 6.54 for Cash. So the Who Scored algorithm rates Wan-Bissaka slightly higher than Cash. And I think he would be a good addition if this was to come to fruition. I think he costs slightly more than 20 million, given what Man United would like for him as a 25-year-old. But am I right in thinking that he kind of fit that style of play?
Yeah, he's definitely someone that I had on my list before I narrowed it down.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Because, he's probably the best one-on-one right back in the world, I think. I can't think of a better one.
Bloody hell, I almost spat my tea out then. Really?
Anyone he comes up against...
Kyle Walker?
Past him. Recovery speed for Walker is the best, I think. But in terms of a 1v1, if you're trying to get past Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he won't let you... He's got those sort of like spider legs that even if you were to get past him, he'll recover. He's obviously got limitations in his game going forward, but in some respects, I think he's almost underrated in a way. Like I think with Anthony, who's at United at the moment on the right wing, he's got a really good link with him, and he doesn't have to kind of bomb on to make chances and swing balls into the box. He does it in a different way. He'll create space for his teammates to play in, basically higher up the field. So I think he's a very underrated player, and he's had a couple of tough years at United, but he recently has shown that he's still the player that they bought for a lot of money from Crystal Palace. So, honestly, I think if he comes up against any winger or most wingers in world football, then they'd really struggle to, or they have struggled to get past him. And I don't have the stats to hand because I didn't look at them, but he tops all the lists in terms of successful tackle percentages and whatnot. So yeah, certainly a player that I think would do a job for us, in a way that Emery sets out his team.
Weirdly, I feel vindicated in picking him, knowing that you would have picked him as well, and you've got some stats to back up that he would be a good addition. So for some reason, that satisfies me. Do you want to give me another name on your list?
I'll try to. But my right back, obviously, we only have Matty Cash in the squad at the moment that can play right back. Constant can fill in, and I think actually Constant very well when he's played right back. My right back of choice is a 22-year-old Dutch international called Lutz Harald Geertruida. And I know what you're thinking, Dan, why am I going safe? Well, no. So Geertruida is the right back for Feyenoord. Feyenoord won the Eredivisie last season under, I believe it was Arne Slot, who Tottenham were trying to appoint as their new manager before they got Ange Postecoglou. But Geertruida, for me, has all of the... I don't doubt a lot of people might not know who he is, and I've kind of made up a name here, but he has all of the... He is the right profile for this Emery team, at least how he played last year, because I'm sure there'll be tweaks next season that maybe, the team that comes out next year might not play exactly how it played last year. So, but what we do know is that Moreno will stay high and wide on the left, flying up and down, playing as a winger. And the right back will probably be asked to shuffle around, creating that back three, or maybe Kamara will drop back, and the right back won't be so... disciplined. I have no idea, but Geertruida can play as a centre back. He can play as a holding midfielder, but for the majority of last season, he played as a right back. So he's really versatile. As I say, won the league. He's really young. There's plenty of room for progression, and he would fit that mould. He recorded the second best tackle success rate in the league last season at 87% in the Eredivisie, that is, and then that's better than Jurrien Timber, who's, I believe, signing for Arsenal, or at least they want him. In terms of the stats, he reflects very similar to Geertruida. In terms of Geertruida's passing as well, he completed over 90% of his passes, which was the second highest in the division, which for a right back is pretty good. And also 183 passes into the final third. That's the 10th most of any player in the division last season too. So again, to do that from the position that he's in, it means that he can step out with the ball, step into midfield, is comfortable to play in possession, and defensively, as I say, he won the second best tackle success rate in the division. He can do everything I think that Emery wants from that player. 22 years old, Dutch. Again, how many Dutch players have succeeded in the Premier League? There's a lot of them. So, yeah, for me, I think that'll be a really astute signing, especially given that some reports are saying that he's about 20 million tops. So Barcelona and Dortmund are also interested in him, but I don't think there's anything concrete or sort of advanced with it. So, yeah, for me, he stands out above a lot of possible right backs as a player that could certainly fit into what Emery wants. Yeah, I was really proud of myself when I found that one.
Just to clarify, you mentioned there's no links, concrete links with Dortmund and Barcelona in real life. Anyone that might have maybe skipped through the intro or have found this through a clip or anything, you're not saying that there's a link with Villa either. This is a hypothetical scenario of somebody you've identified and thought he'd be good. I'm going to go with centre half now, and I want you to say yours as well, so we can just kind of battle it out versus each other. So basically, yours is
Pau Torres.
Exactly, someone who has been linked in real life. So I don't want to do loads and loads of talk on him. My one in my hypothetical transfer window is Nathan Collins. I've put 25 million. When he signed for Wolves, he went for 20 million. So they'd probably want a bit more than that. I like him. He's very well respected by our colleagues at work at Stoke and Wolves. A real talented player. 22 years old, so a player that's got time to kind of develop a career and not come in with expectations of being first choice. So this is my approach to a centre half, basically, that I think Mings and Konsa, this is real life now, have been very, very good. And unless you're going to go to a back three, I don't see either of those two being displaced from the start of the season. You've got Diego Carlos, who's come in with good pedigree, but we're yet to see how his recovery from the injury affects his long-term kind of future. But there's three very good centre halves there. I struggle to see a scenario where Villa have four like genuinely very good centre halves, knowing that if you play in a back four, two of them aren't going to play every week. And I know it's a squad game and there's going to be rotation and whatnot, but centre half is a place that you don't want to be chopping and changing every week, that Pau Torres plays 1 week and then Tyrone Mings plays the next week. Like, you want to create like a unity at the back. So I've gone with Collins as somebody who's he's a good player now, but at 22, as centre halves go into the mid-30s, one for the future kind of thing. And as much as, yes, you're spending 25 million on him to come in and be third or fourth choice, I think that's how you build a squad.
Yeah, I certainly buy that. I think the key thing for Emery is that he views every position as upgradable, not in a disrespectful sense, but he wants literally two players for each position. And if he sees the left side of defence is that important in terms of our build-up phase, then maybe a right-footed player can't play there. And that's why we want to sign Pau Torres. And as we speak currently at 5-4 on a Tuesday afternoon, Villa want to get that deal done. It's about finding an agreement with Villarreal. As far as we know, we don't know if Pau Torres would accept coming to Villa. We are obviously it would give Villa a big boost now that we have Emery, and it'd be able to reunite with him. But there's interest from other clubs as well, Bayern Munich too. So we'll see how that one progresses. But that would be a real top coup for Villa to get a player of his quality for probably 35 million or under. I think it's one of those where Villa look at it and think, well, is left-sided centre-back the position where Villa have to strengthen right now, and is that a priority? No, it isn't. But then at the same time, if this level of player comes, you can't wait for these deals to happen. You need to get them while you can, sort of thing. So, like Tielemans, I suppose, having him on a free is a great addition. Was it paramount that we brought in a midfielder? Possibly not, but there you go. So yeah, Torres is my pick. Again, not because we link with him, just because I think it makes perfect sense if we want that left-sided centre-back, because say we have Carlos and Konsa. Left side would be Mings and another centre-half. The top centre-back, 7th most passes into the final third in La Liga last season, 197 progressive passes, which again for a centre-back is really good. And his defensive numbers stood up really well too. 6th most clearances and the 3rd most progressive carrying distance of the ball, which stacks up well against Mings' numbers as well in the Premier League. It would be a brilliant addition if we could do it. I don't know how it would work out with him, Mings, Konsa, Carlos, but it's a good headache, I suppose. If you're Emery, you want 2 players per position. You've got Luca Dean, Alex Moreno. If we would sign Pau Torres, all of a sudden you've got real strength in depth for your defence, adding another right back too. In midfield, you've got that, and then obviously it's adding a bit more at the top of the pitch as well, and that's your summer window basically. So all of a sudden Villa will be coming out the summer window in a really healthy position if they can get their some of their top targets.
In regards to transfers, and this is slightly off topic from the discussion we're having here at the moment about kind of fantasy transfers, I should say. That sounded like fancy transfers. When Emery first came in, I think we had to adapt as fans a little bit to how we play football now, and that we're kind of progressing into a different style and a more maybe modern approach than we're maybe used to. I kind of feel like we're almost guilty of the same when it comes to transfers. That, I'm saying this from my own personal point of view, that we've just spoken about, that, well, why are we signing Pau Torres? We've got Mings and Konsa that they'll play every week, and that's probably not the mindset to have to a squad game anymore. That it's not as simple as just saying that, well, Mings and Konsa have played very well, so it's their shirt to lose for the next 38 games in the Premier League and 15 games in the Conference League, or whatever it would be if Villa went all the way in cup competitions. If you've got Torres, Carlos as backup and Konsa and Mings as first choice, and for the audio listeners, I'm putting that in air quotes, I don't think it's as simple to say that anymore, that somebody is a backup and somebody is a starter. It's just that whoever is the best player at that specific time, or the best player for a specific opponent, is the player that gets selected. And it's not that Pau Torres or Diego Carlos comes in to replace Mings and then will play the next 30 games after that. It's that, well, maybe he was more suited to that, and it's a squad game, and there'll be chops and changes. Yep. I just think specifically against that point, there is that thing of having centre-backs playing together and a defence playing together throughout a season and having chemistry together. But it's about having a squad of 20, 25 players, not just 11 or not just 2 or 3 substitutes. It's having a strong unit of 18 or 19 that can all be chopped and changed and brought in. And that's something I think that we as fans probably need to get used to over the next 12, 18 months. Yeah,
I've always said it or a couple of years ago, you'd look at Everton's team or Tottenham's team or other clubs, and you'd look at their bench and think, oh, wow, look at all those options. How do you keep all those players happy? And, when do they get their moment to shine? And that's something that we aren't really used to having. For example, if Mings was on the bench for a game next season, you'd like to think that Villa fans wouldn't be in uproar because, well, Pau Torres is playing and Mings will get his chance in the Europa Conference League game or in the game coming up, because as you say, Dan, you need solutions for each opponent that you're facing, and we'll get onto it later in our transfer wish list. But especially in those forward positions, you need different options and, as I say, different tools to break down different teams, and that works again for the defence as well. While you need those relationships, there's no reason, if we're playing 50 games next season, then if each of them is playing 25 games or maybe more, it's still a lot of football. You just need a big squad.
You want them to buy into that kind of that unity amongst the squad, that yes, I might only be playing 20 games, but I'm part of something bigger than that. I'm part of this kind of family, this group that I contributed towards some kind of success.
Yeah. I just brought up something that I wrote a couple of weeks ago, and it was that Monchi spent 100 million euros on 29 players, excluding loans, in Emery's 3 years at Sevilla, which is about 3.5 million per player. But that's not really the point. The point is that he spent money on 29 players in 3 years, and he signed a lot of players on loan as well, at least 10. So that's 40 plus players in 3 years. I know maybe in Spain maybe they sign more players than Premier League clubs. I have no idea. But that proves that Emery is more than happy by, bringing in plenty of players, as long as they're the right fit for him and he can mould them in a team and in a squad, and he can set an environment that allows them to all be comfortable in different roles that they have, then that's okay. It's just that I think, for us fans, we've looked at it and think, oh, we don't want to sort of overkill it and have players unhappy. And it's like, well, that doesn't have to be the case. If Villa are doing well and you're part of that, then that's the journey you've signed up for. So
a player similar to that conversation in real life is that Yuri Tielemans signs, and we're all going, well, where does he fit in? Who does he replace? Exactly. And it's not as simple as who does he replace. He's part of a squad now that is better than it was 6 weeks ago. And I'm keen to get on with the rest of our list, so I fear we're running out of time slightly. A similar player that I will make the same argument about here is for a midfielder I've picked, Amadu Onana from Everton.
There we go. Yeah.
Where does he fit in? This holding midfielder. We've got Kamara, we've got Luiz. We need squad depth, mate. We need people in there. Big, strong player, 21 years old, massive potential. I think, I don't know where I've got this figure from, but I've got Everton paid 35 million for him. I've put we're signing him for 40. Probably a little bit on the lower side of what Everton would like. 29 starts for Everton last year, but let's face it, he can do better than Everton. Possibly not the best passer of the ball, but wins the ball back and moves it on to the more technical players. And whilst he's only 21, he's got room to develop and get better on the ball himself. Belgium international as well, which is worth noting. So Tielemans link, they might be mates. I don't know. Anana, 40 million. He's one for me.
Yeah, really nice player and a really good pick. Again, I just don't know if 40 million's in the right ballpark and whether it's going to sound mad, whether he'd actually leave Everton. I think he came out with a statement or something saying that he doesn't want to leave them. And I think Chelsea wanted to sign him. Of course, Chelsea wanted to sign him.
This is hypothetical scenarios, mate. In this scenario, he does want to leave.
It's a hypothetical price tag as well. I think we're talking about a midfielder mainly because there's questions over Dendonk's future, which I think is a bit harsh, actually. Whenever he's come in, I actually think he's been really good. But this is Emery's team, so we'll see how that plays out. You're looking at Tielemans, Luiz, and Kamara, plus another midfielder. And I don't think it's like a particularly major position for us to be signing a player. Like, I know we're obviously interested in Tyler Adams, which I think is a good fit in terms of what we want, in terms of a player who can win the ball back. So I did a bit of digging around, and I wanted to add a bit of experience and a player who could kind of come in as a leader. We've obviously lost Ashley Young, we've lost Danny Ings as well over the last few months, and we've lost Jed Steer. So we lost a bit of leadership in the dressing room. So I thought, let's sign a 33-year-old, or 33 in August, actually. He's a Brazilian midfielder from Lille. He's called Benjamin Andre. Again, I don't expect too many people to recognise the name or the player. He's been at Lille for about 4 years now. So some of the stats he was putting out last season were ridiculous. So basically, if you want a player that's going to win the ball back, or at least based off last season, a player that's going to win the ball back in midfield and then push it forward into the forward positions, Benjamin Andre is your man. So passes into the final third. He completed 297 of those last season, which of all players in Europe's top 5 leagues, so Bundesliga, Serie A, Premier League, only one player had or produced more passes into the final third than Andre. So progressive
top 5 leagues?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Who was the one player? Is it De Bruyne?
I'll be honest, I don't know. I didn't take that out on my notes.
It's probably Amadu and Arna, to be fair.
Maybe. Progressive passes, 4th most in Europe at 309. Tackles, 2nd in Europe, 128. Tackles, 1/3 in Europe, 74. And only 3 players tackled more dribblers, if that makes sense, the face. So he's literally in like the 99th percentile of passes, progressive passes, and winning the ball back. João Palhinha would have been tackles. Yeah. Because, we all know about him.
How much are you paying for this 33-year-old?
I can't see too much. This is half the reason why I think it'd be a good deal, because I don't think we'd be paying any more than 10 million, because again, the stats are fantastic, but ultimately Benjamin Andre isn't a world beater. He's 33 in August, to say. He's been at the club for like 4 years. I don't think they could sort of begrudge him if he wants a new challenge, the final challenge of his career. I presume it would be. He's got 3 years left on his deal, to be fair, but you can't be ordering like 20 mil plus for a 33-year-old, can you? So yeah, he wins the ball and moves it forward. 5th most touches in Ligue 1 as well. So yeah, based off that, I think it'd be really astute addition, depending on what Lille say in terms of a price tag. But they're a selling club, aren't they? And as are most teams in Europe, to be fair. So I think if we could get an older player off their books for a bit of money, then fair enough. I'm with you. I'd always like to sign younger players, but I just thought that one in particular kind of,
tickled your fancy.
That is exactly what I was going to say, yeah. So that's my, just to add to my midfield depth. Yeah. Based off last season, if he could replicate that for Villa, then yeah, fantastic. I got 3 players left, and I actually went with another midfielder again. I've still got a large chunk of my budget left.
After just saying that we probably don't need another midfielder, you're signing 2.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is if Dane Donker departs, which I think would be a bit unfortunate. But if he does, then I think we need someone else to hold that add depth to the double pivot. I view him as 2 different roles, and then further forward, got Ramsey and McGinn. And to be fair, I don't think there's too much else there. I know you could put Bailey and Buendia in those positions, but I thought with £20 million, you could sign Southampton's Carlos Alcaraz. I think he's a really good player, and I just thought, again, relegated. Reports saying that Southampton would take about 20 million. He's a really raw talent. But I think Emery could fine-tune him into something quite special. He's energetic. He's got that needle about him. He's fearless, in and out of possession. 4 goals, 2 assists in 12 starts for Southampton last season. Obviously, only joined him in January from, I think, Racing in Argentina. He wouldn't be playing every game, but for his development, it might just be as important for him to be learning off someone like Emery than just playing every week for, I don't know, Brentford or something, who actually might be a good move for him.
I was going to say, that sounds all right.
Yeah. But any other club, I don't know. Adds to the South American contingent as well. I just had some funds to play with and thought, instead of boosting my striker to like a £60 million signing, which Villa might not make, I thought Carlos Alcaraz would be a really nice little pick. I think he's a really good play, especially in that Arsenal game that was live. I have watched him more than once before comments start bashing me. But that was like the perfect sort of demonstration of what he's capable of. And yeah, a young player, raw player, but someone that Emery, I think, could mould into, something really good.
So I've got two left. I've realised that neither of mine are an out-and-out striker. I've got kind of wide players, but if we're playing the same kind of system, both of these could play off Watkins in that kind of shadow striker role, or whatever they call it these days. Actually, I've got three left because I haven't done my first one, have I, at the very start? I forgot, but that will be a very quick one. My backup goalkeeper. A real-life link here for me, an easy one, Harvey Barnes. His name's been doing the rounds for weeks. I really like him. The goal that he scored against us at their place, that kind of brilliant first touch, bringing the ball down from the sky off the goal kick or the centre half, powerful run, and then a strong right-footed finish past the post or off the post, past Martinez. That goal in isolation, that's what we need. We need a bit of that. We need an outlet. We need a runner. We need someone who's going to carry the ball and someone who's got a good finish on him as well. So somebody a bit more reliable, basically, than, for example, I don't want this to seem like I always dig him out, but Leon Bailey, if he goes through that exact same period of play that Barnes does in that goal against Villa, I don't back Bailey to score it. So I want Barnes against Villa in that game at the King Power. I want that to come and play for us, basically. So Barnes, I've got 35 million, which seems to be the figure again that's doing the rounds at the moment.
Yeah, it'll be no more than that, I don't think.
I wouldn't have thought so, but yeah, that boosted my overall transfer spend nearer the 150 budgets. I thought I'll give them that because I've obviously underestimated a couple of other players. So Harvey Barnes, 35 million. Let's have it.
We all know why Villa are interested in Harvey Barnes, and clearly Emery wants to add a winger to his squad this summer, and he gives us something that we don't have, that sort of explosive speed, direct. It's a goal threat as well. So yeah, I'd back that signing down. I think it'd be really, really good business from Villa. I've gone with, it's difficult because Villa have gone after a couple of wings already. The feeling is that Nico Williams will probably remain at Athletic Club this summer. Whether he signs a new contract or not, we don't know yet. Villa obviously tried for him in January, tried for him again this summer, and he appears unwilling to join. But Villa obviously want to sign a winger of that profile. Harvey Barnes, Nico Williams, they had an ambitious, or they tried to move for Chiesa of Juventus as well, which would have been a lot of money. So it's difficult because I'm not saying it would be the most glamorous signing in the world. But a player that I think could give some sort of similarity to that would be Marcus Edwards of Sporting. Again, he's not playing in a sort of a Big Five league as such, but in terms of the profile, I think it would just about work out. There aren't many wingers in Europe that can play like Nico Williams or the players that Villa have been looking at. I'd go with Marcus Edwards. Progressive carries, 5 of them per 90 last season. Again, you've got to kind of take it with a pinch of salt because it's the Portuguese league, but there's a lot of good players that come out of the Portuguese league. 3 take-ons per 90, which was the same as Williams. Obviously, 2 different leagues, shot creating actions, 5 per 90. All of these for Edwards. And he was better than Williams in terms of his progressive numbers, progressive passes. He's potentially more of a direct threat again, in a different division, different league, but he's certainly a player that I've been really impressed by whenever I've watched him. 3 years left on his deal. He's got a big release clause, but I don't think they could command, I think it's about 50 million. I think 30 million would probably get Marcus Edwards.
To my final attacking player then, I've gone Wilfred Zaha on a free, which is probably a strange one for me, seeing as I've moaned about him on the podcast for about 3 years in a row now. He winds me up. I really dislike his moaning to the referees. I dislike that he goes down easily, but that's largely due to the fact that he's an opposition player. I think it's time for me to mature a little bit and realise that if he was in the Villa side doing those things, I'd probably quite like it. I'd like that he was winding opposition crowds up and opposition players up. It's a free transfer. Wages are probably a touch higher than I would like to pay a 30-year-old.
At least you can't get his transfer fee wrong this time.
Yeah, that kind of happens, doesn't it, with a free transfer? They get an overinflated wage packet or signing on bonuses and all those kind of things. But yeah, let's give him a go.
Emery wanted to sign Zaha at Arsenal as well. Instead of Pepe, which was obviously a bit of a disaster.
I think that probably would have been a good move, to be honest.
So, yeah, Zaha's obviously a player that Emery likes. Whether he thinks he'd fit into this team or not, I don't know. There hasn't actually been any concrete links with us to him, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a player that we're looking at or have been looking at. But then for Zaha, he could probably be playing one-off Champions League football for a club in Europe or earning a lot of money. Certainly would be a good addition, and playing in that role, that second striker sort of position. I've gone with, again, something a different profile, because I feel like if we add the players that I've said, then, and plus we have Buendia, we have Bailey, we have different options that can all do those sorts of roles. What I don't think we have is a striker that can, take the ball, relieve pressure, back to goal, hold up play, that sort of stuff. And for that, I've shortlisted Mehdi Taremi of Porto, who I think is always linked with transfers over the last few years, but nothing ever seems to come off for him. He's got 12 months left on his deal at Porto, and I don't think you'd be paying any more than 20 million for him. He just scores goals, and a lot of them. Again, it's in the Portuguese league, but that's a natural ability to put the ball in the back of the net. He had 30 goal contributions in 33 games last season, which is still remarkable, whatever division you're playing in. Yeah, I said whatever division. The Portuguese league, it gets a lot of, a lot of sort of snobbery, but ultimately, as I say, a lot of players come out of the division who are then suddenly the best players in the Premier League or in other leagues. So, yeah, a lot of goal contributions, a lot of goals, 22 goals last season in the league, but then also 7 goal involvements in 7 Champions League games as well. So a player that isn't like a flat track bully, he can do it against good opposition too. He always plays well in the World Cup and for Iran as well. He's always putting himself about. And yeah, I just think it would be a sensible transfer, really. He's nearly 6'2", 30 years old, good experience. He's a bit of a throwback. Yeah, joined Port in 2019 and never not scored more than 20 goals in a season. So yeah, it's just a player that doesn't have to play every game. But if you need something different on the 60th minute, or if you need to defend your box in the 60th minute onwards, you can bring on Taremi, and I'm sure he'd make an impact. And I think that's something that Villa don't have. You can bring on Cameron Archer next season, but I think that's not necessarily like for Watkins, but in terms of that role and of standing between posts and making those runs, they are quite similar. But Taremi just gives you something different, whether that's say even defensive responsibility. I just think it'd be a good sign, and I think that puts my budget at about 130 million. I'm quite pleased with that. Right,
so we're on to my last pick now, and the last pick of this hypothetical video. My current spend at the moment is 120 million. So I'm 30. Again, I've probably underrated some of mine, but that's what I've got so far. Yeah. I've got 30 million left to spend, and I realised that we need a backup goalkeeper. Now, my restriction I put on myself was that I'm only going after Premier League players, because I knew that your list was going to feature some players from across the continent. So I wanted to be mine all from the Premier League. I was looking through the second choices at Premier League clubs, thinking, can I just take Man City's second choice or Crystal Palace's second choice or whatever? So let's have them for 2 million. And I just thought, I don't fancy that. My pick is, it's just funny, basically, and it'll wind up the right people if they stumble upon this video. I've gone for Nick Pope for 30 million, which takes my budget up to 150. I've spent every penny. And Nick Pope, he's not going to get in over Emi Martinez. He can come in and be backup. And my thinking here was that let's go at it from a different angle and weaken an opposition. I wasn't going to go and pick up like Southampton's reserve goalkeeper or something silly like that. I'm going to weaken Newcastle by taking Nick Pope to Aston Villa. Not play him. He'll be behind Emi Martinez anyway. The 30 million, Nick Pope, just because it's funny. If Newcastle fans stumble upon this video, or if this gets clipped for social or something, it's going to wind up the right people, which is, again, another box ticked for me. So yeah, that's my final signing. Nick Pope to be back up to Martinez, to weaken Newcastle and take my budget up to 150 million spent. So to conclude then and round up our transfer windows, our hypothetical transfer windows, like we said at the start, this is not what we're saying Aston Villa will do. It's what we would like to do in this fantasy world. I've got Nick Pope in goal for 30 million, Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back for 20 million, Nathan Collins at centre half for 25 million, Amadu Onana for 40 million, Harvey Barnes for 35 million, and Wilfred Zaha on a free. Do you want to run through yours, John?
Yeah, so goalkeeper Martin Dubravka for about 5 million. Prices are probably going to be different. Right back Lutz Harold Geertruida, Pau Torres, give or take 30 million. Benjamin Andre, give or take 10 million. Carlos Alcaraz 20, Marcus Edwards 30, and Mehdi Taremi 17. Again, two very different lists, and I'd love to actually combine ours. To be fair,
yeah,
we could probably, putting two brains together sort of thing. But I think we gave a good sort of holistic view of the European transfer market there.
Yeah, exactly. Let us know in the comments who had the best transfer window there, me or John. Also, let us know your suggestions. There'll be players out there that in a hypothetical world you would love Aston Villa to sign. I did a tweet saying you could sign any player. Budget is irrelevant. Real life is irrelevant. And people were saying Haaland, Messi, Mbappe, things like that, as you'd expect. But a lot of players that Villa have been linked to, players like Pedro Gonçalves, how good he would be for us. So let us know in the YouTube comments down below who you would sign if you had a fancy transfer list. It'd be nice to do a throwback here to our Football Manager days and sign these players for Villa and do a simulation and see who has the better side. If I can find the time, I might actually try and do that. John, thanks for your time and your research as well for actually taking this silly video seriously. Like I said at the very top, I think if people enjoy this, there's other kind of avenues we can take this hypothetical scenario angle down as well, and it gives us something different to talk about. We'll be back later in the week with an exclusive interview with Alex Butler, former Masseur at Aston Villa, who was there from 2007 to 2020. So keep an eye on that. Subscribe to Claret and Blue. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.